Hi everyone, my name is Emily Teacher, and today we'll be reading How the Seasons Changed. It is universally acknowledged that the seasons occur because Earth, as it travels in its yearly orbit around the Sun, has its northern hemisphere tilted away from the Sun during northern winters and toward the Sun during northern summers. The ancient Greeks were considerably less enlightened in matters of astronomy than we are today. They put forward a different explanation. It was expressed in one of their myths about the goddess Demeter and her daughter Persephone. So we know a lot about the earth and space and how things work now, right? So we know why we have different seasons, right? It's how the earth is placed and how it goes around the sun. But the Greeks didn't know much about really science or especially about space at the time. So they had a different explanation. And we're going to read that explanation. It's one of the myths about one of the many goddesses that the Greeks worshipped. So this is about Demeter and her daughter Persephone. The ancient Greeks believed that the gods intervened frequently in human affairs and often did so in a capricious manner. They were inclined to regard human mortals as mere playthings. Demeter, whose name means Earth Mother, was different. She was a benevolent goddess who had bestowed upon humans the invaluable gift of agriculture, which provided them with most of the necessities of life. The ancient Greeks considered the island of Sicily especially sacred, as they believed it was there that Demeter had first given corn to humans. Women who tilled the fields and planted the crops while the men hunted were among the most devout followers. So, usually, the Greek gods were known to meddle in human affairs, right? To play with people and do things on earth just for fun. But Demeter was known as very benevolent. She was a very kind goddess who gave the ability to farm to people. And in Sicily, right, in Italy, she had given corn to humans for the first time. So many Greeks thought that place was very sacred. According to the myth, Persephone was abducted by Hades, the god of the underworld, while she was in a meadow with her friends picking flowers. Hades suddenly erupted from an abyss that he created at her feet and carried Persephone off to his home, the abode of the dead. There he made her his wife. Distraught over the loss of her daughter, Demeter searched for her everywhere. When at last she determined what had happened, Demeter demanded that Persephone be returned to her. Hades refused. He argued that Persephone had consumed the seeds of a pomegranate while in the underworld. Anyone who had eaten food there was destined to remain. So Hades, the god of the underworld, or the place where the dead live, had come and taken Persephone without her wanting to go with him. He just took her. And so when Demeter found out her daughter was missing and in the land of the dead, she demanded that Hades bring her back. But because Persephone had eaten food that was in the underworld, she was not allowed to leave. Unable to agree on a solution to the problem, Demeter and Hades called upon Zeus, the ruler of the gods, to arbitrate the dispute. Demeter threatened to make the earth barren unless her daughter was restored to her. Zeus did not want to lose humans who worshipped him, so he worked out a compromise. Persephone would live part of each year in the underworld with Hades. The remainder of the year she would spend in the human world with her mother. So Demeter threatened that she would make the earth barren, right? She would stop plants from growing unless she got her daughter back. So Zeus, in order to save people who worshipped him, he decided to say that Persephone would stay with Hades for part of the year, and the rest of the time she would come back with her mother. And so we see it is to Demeter's moods that the ancient Greeks attributed the changing of the seasons. During the summer months, when the land is scorched by the hot southern sun and the crops wither in the heat, Persephone was presumed to be in the underworld with Hades. During the mild, moist months from fall to spring, when the earth is fruitful, she was living with her mother. So instead of the orbit of the earth and sun, the Greeks assumed that during the summertime, when it was really hot and plants wouldn't live, that Demeter was angry, and because Persephone was with Hades, and that's why it was summer. And then the rest of the year, when it was nice and cool and moist, and lots of plants grew, that Persephone was back with her mother. Thank you for reading with me today. We do have links related to each story, and if you would like the link for this video, you can find it in the description below.